Right here is every single Mad City prison escape, and today I'm going to be ranking them from the greatest escape all the way down to I'd rather just stay in prison, they were that bad. Each one of these are color coded, the red squares being the Chapter 1 Season 1 prison, the yellow squares being the just after the Season 6 live event, the cyan squares are Chapter 2 Season 1's prison, and of course the green squares are the prison that we're in now, the Legacy prison. Starting off with the lockpick from the Chapter 1 Season 1 prison, the first ever prison. This was one of the more common escapes, I'm pretty sure, in this prison. I kind of want to put it in good escape because it's one of the better ones, so yeah, I'm gonna put it there. Of course you have to get the lockpick, you go up to the door, you lockpick the door, you go into this smaller room, you go down into this vent, you crawl across. There's quite a lot to it, so it's pretty good. The C4, this is actually still in the game right now and hasn't actually ever left, so it's pretty good. I'm gonna put it in good. Of course, you go up to the wall, you place the C4 down, you give it like 10 seconds, you have to wait for the C4 to blow up, you go through, you're out. It's actually pretty cool, and for this first prison, it was good. Next up we have the hammer escape. I'm gonna put this one in a little bit mid, and you'll see why in a minute. It wasn't bad, it was one of those that it wasn't too bad to do, it was actually quite fun. There's a reason I've put it in here and you'll see later on in the video why, but basically you get the hammer, you break the toilet, you crawl through the sewers, which at this point was like the smallest thing ever. Again, not bad, but there's a reason why I put it in here, and you'll see why later on. Next up we have the rope. This is one of those which are quick and easy to do, but also kind of boring, and because you just quite literally place it, climb up it, and out you go, I kind of want to put it in bad, but at the same time it's quite easy to do, so I'm just going to put it in mid. Next up we have a classic, which is the spoon escape. This was definitely my favorite one to do, because it was easy, but it was also kind of cool. It was very creative. I kind of want to put it in the greatest escapes ever, because it's also kind of funny how you just escape with a single spoon. Next up we're going to the yellow section. The first two didn't actually require you to get any escape items, you just had to run up to them and hold E. They were the easiest thing ever. I'm gonna go ahead and put the first one in probably a little bit mid. The second one wasn't used as much, but I'm gonna put it in good because there was slightly more of a risk because you had to run straight past the police area, which is, it's just slightly better. Next up we have another classic, the lockpick area. This one's going to not go into good like the other one, it's just going to go into a bit mid, because this lockpick, you just literally lockpicked a single door, there was no vent to go in, it was quite mid. Next up we got the rope again. I'm gonna just put it back in mid because you just place down a rope, it's the same one as always, you just place it, you climb up it, not the greatest. The wire cutters, this one I'm so tempted to put up here because it was pretty cool. I'm gonna put it there because it was cool. It was cool. You had to collect these wire cutters, obviously, from going around the prison. You went up to the little fence. You cut through the little fence. You ran through it. It was definitely cool. It's going in the greatest escape. And so is this next one, actually. This might be the best escape that they've actually ever added. So I'm going to put it right at the top of the greatest escape. It is the C4 escape in the Chapter 1 Season 7 prison. Basically, what you do is you obviously have to craft the C4, which takes some time, but it's also pretty cool. Then you have to run up to this little light in the basketball court. You have to place it down, wait for it to explode, and this entire light would literally fall over. You'd have to climb up the light, jump over the entire wall. It was really cool. Definitely one of the best escapes, and that's why it's going in the greatest escape so far. Next up we have the vents, and this was actually the first time that the proper events were actually in the game. I'm gonna put this in good, but quite far up to the point like the top of good. There it is. This was really cool. It added the screwdriver into the game, and you had to get the screwdriver obviously by finding it around in the bins. You had to go up to this vent, and the vent can literally take you anywhere around the prison, as well as taking you to quite literally just outside the front door, so then you could just run out and escape. This next one was also quite good. It required you to go to the jobs in the prison, grab the pickaxe, and then walk up to this wall and just smash it like you're playing Minecraft. It wasn't the best thing, but I'm going to put it in good because it was actually quite decent. You had to do a few things. Obviously, you had to start the job to even get there, and then you had to completely abandon the job. Just like that, we are moving on to the third prison, which is the Chapter 2 Season 1 prison, which is kind of like a revamped version of the one that we were just ranking. Now, a few of the escapes that are in this prison were actually in the previous one, so I'm not going to re-rank those ones, because obviously they would go exactly where they were, considering this is a revamped version of that prison. First of all, we have the hammer escape right here, which has actually been in the game ever since the first ever prison, as you saw here. The first one, which was obviously the chapter 1 season 1 prison, I put that in a bit mid. This one's going straight up into the Great Escape because the sewer here looks so much better and is so much more detailed that it just has to go here. There was a few more escapes inside of the sewer as well. There wasn't just a small pathway that you had to crawl through, there was like a full-on sewer system, and it was just really cool. That's why I'm putting this one here, and that's why the first one, like I said, is going down in the bit mid. Lockpicking, exactly the same as it had been, not really a surprise here. I'm gonna put this in a bit mid because it hadn't really changed. Next up we have the mallet, which is basically the exact same thing as the hammer. I'm tempted to put it up in the Greatest Escape, so it's exactly the same. We'll just put it there. These are pretty much the same. Next up we have the axe, which is exactly like it was the last time. You basically grab the axe from doing the job, and then you basically go to this wall and you gotta break through the wall. It's still pretty cool. We're just gonna put it next to the other one because it's pretty much the same anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Next up we have the screwdriver. Now this is pretty much the same, although I'm pretty sure the vent system was maybe slightly bigger in this version, but because they're quite similar to, because obviously this is a revamp version, because they're quite similar, I'm just going to go ahead and put it exactly the same next to the other one. The spoon escape had come back, and this time it changed places. It's now under a completely different little fence that you have to go under, but it's still basically the same thing. I'm gonna put it in bit mid because it was the same thing. It come back, it was pretty good, but it's not really changed. The next two are both going up into the Greatest Escapes. Basically it's the torch and the lighter right here, where you basically go up to these pieces of planks and you have to set them on fire, and then they fall down, you go through. It was really cool. Next up we're back at the vents, and that's because the wrench is here as well, which does the exact same thing. A lot of these do the exact same things, just like the lighter and also the torch. I don't know why they put like two different items for the same escape, but I'm just gonna keep it fair and I'm just gonna put it right next to the other one because they're exactly the same. Next up we have the ladder. The ladder works exactly the same as the rope. It's just kind of like a reskinned version. It's kind of a bit mid. You place it down, you climb up it. It's better than the rope though, it looks better. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it in bit mids, but we're going to put it just above all the other ones, so it's above the ropes. And just like that, we are on the final prison, the legacy prison, as you can see. And we're just going to begin, starting off with the hammer and the mallet. We might as well do them together because they are like quite literally the same thing. So they're good now, but they're not as good as this sewer here. You don't go into this massive sewer system. I'm going to put them in good because they're still good. Next up we have the lockpick escape, exactly the same as it was when it first was added into the game. The room is slightly bigger and slightly more revamped. I'm going to go ahead and put it just slightly above the other one because it's still a good escape. Next up we have the pickaxe escape in the legacy prison. Now this is not as good as it used to be because it's just another item that you have to find. Yes, the escape's pretty good. I'm going to put it at the top of mid. It used to be really good because you had to get it from obviously the job, which kind of added things to it, but now it's just another item. It's kind of a bit mid. It's been around for so long. Top of mid will do. Next up we have the dynamite escape, which is literally just the dynamite all over again. I'm going to put it on the end of good because it's still a good escape. The spoon has not changed, it's always been the same, so I'm just going to put it next to the other spoon one because, you know, it was great and now it's just another escape. The ladder is exactly the same as it was and always has been. It's just a reskinned version of the rope, but I do think it's still better than the rope. It just looks better, so it's going with the other ladder. And finally we have the screwdriver and the wrench, which do the exact same thing. They go down into this garbage area, which has always been into the game, but I'm going to go ahead and put these in. I'm just going to put them good because they're good. Alright, they're good. I don't know why we have like two items for like each escape now, but there we go. That's every single prison escape across every single prison that we've had so far. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Let me know what your favorite escape is, and that'll be it for this video.